Hey, my friend, do you want to know the one mindset that you need to take into your food freedom journey? Today, you're going to learn what that is. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Live Unrestricted podcast, a show where you'll learn how to heal your relationship with food and your body so that you can focus your time and energy on more important things like your personal growth. I'm your host, Sabrina Magna, food freedom coach, and my mission is to help make your life happier and healthier without stress, overwhelm, or guilt about food. If you love the show, please do go out and share it. And if you're looking for support with your relationship with food, details about my programs are in the show notes. Thanks for spending time with me today. Now let's jump in. Okay, so what I really love about this podcast is that I get to share things that are on my mind that I'm working through or I have worked through and healed from. And I get to share the lessons and the things that have been really helpful because I'm always working on growing and improving myself, and definitely not from this place of toxicity, like I need to fix myself, even though in the past it definitely did come from that place. And that's another thing that I've healed. But I know that there are certain things, there's certain lessons that, and even certain mindsets that I carry with me in any new project or any new life change that I want to create. And I want to share that with you. So this is really going to be a short and informal episode. And the reason why this came up for me is because I was going through my computer and I was looking through some of my old trainings and my old videos and the content that I created when I first started my business years ago. And it was painful to see. The quality, just my ability to speak and convey ideas was just like, I was a beginner. Of course, I was just starting out. And it was interesting to see that person who was just starting out and was putting stuff out there and was sharing my ideas and what I knew was valuable. And I was doing it in a very imperfect kind of way. And this made me think of a very important piece of growth, a very important lesson that you need to learn and you need to keep in that beautiful brain of yours as you work towards something new, as you work towards healing your relationship with food, with your body, reconnecting to your body, right? There's going to be many different pieces that you're going to learn. You're going to develop new skills and you're going to do things that you've never done before. And just like when I started my business and I did things that I had never done before that scared the living crap out of me, there's this one thing that is really crucial for you to keep in mind, and it's you have to be willing to be bad at something. When you start doing something that you've never done before, for example, when you start working on reconnecting to your body or regulating your nervous system, developing new coping strategies, bringing awareness to your patterns and your mindsets that might be contributing to certain behaviors around food, when you work on healing your body image and looking at your past and your relationship with diet culture, all of that you've likely never done before, right? You're used to the diets, you're used to the surface level stuff, the quick fixes. And when you're healing your relationship with food and you're learning about intuitive eating, a lot of this stuff is most likely going to be new to you. And for a lot of people, new can feel intimidating because we don't want to go through the pain of not having it all figured out. We don't want to go through the pain of not being great at something at first. And as someone who is or was used to having overachiever as part of my identity, simply because when I was in school growing up, I just naturally picked it up really quickly. I got really good grades. I was a super hard worker. I was also an elite athlete, right? So I was training 20 plus hours a week, and I really loved sports. And I come from a family with very high standards. I'm the youngest of 5 kids. Everyone in my family is really smart, really talented. And so I developed this belief that in order to be loved, in order to have attention, in order to feel worthy, I needed to achieve. So, as you can imagine, my bar has been extremely high. And there's a lot of research that shows that disordered eating and chronic dieting can be highly correlated with perfectionism. And that can even be something that you can start asking yourself is, where is my bar? Right? Like, where is my bar? And am I always raising it? Because that's what I used to do. And trust me, I've had to do a lot of healing on this. But what I would do is I would have an extremely high bar. And as I would work towards trying to reach it, and oftentimes my goals were unrealistic, as I would work towards reaching it, the closer I would get, the further away the bar would also get, because I would keep raising it. I would keep raising my expectations, what I expected from myself. And there's actually this concept which is called the gap and the gain. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't read the book yet, but a friend of mine was telling me about this book, and I'm pretty sure it's called The Gap and the Gain. And it's this concept that when you have a goal, any goal, it could be in your career, it could be in your healing, like really whatever that looks like for you. Think of it as that goal being in front of you. And as you start working towards the goal, you're going to move forward, right? You're going to move closer and closer to that goal. But what we often do is we look at the gap between us and the goal. We keep seeing how far away we are instead of looking at the gain, instead of looking at how much progress we've already done. And the trouble, the harm about this kind of mindset is that if you're anything like me, the goalpost, it keeps moving, right? So you're always seeing the gap. You're always seeing how far you have to go, because even if you're making progress, well, now the goalpost is further away. And so you're still seeing this like massive space of how much there is to improve on and how much progress you still have to make, instead of looking back and seeing at, whoa, look at where I started and look at where I am now. And I look back on some of those videos that I did when I was first starting out. And quite honestly, I started at 0. And please do not try to find those videos. I beg you, they're not they're not a reflection of how far I've come. But looking at those videos, it forced me to look back, to look at the gain, to look at how far I've come. And there's this, I think I might butcher this, but there's a book, and I'm pretty sure it's called Good to Great. And I heard this years ago, and I think it's from the same author. I'm really butchering this. I don't remember who the author is, but he was saying how you need to be bad in order to be good. And you need to be good in order to become great. And when you're used to having these really high standards, high expectations for yourself, and especially if you have a past of yo-yo dieting and being extremely hard on yourself, right? There's a lot of science, a lot of research that shows that dieting is negatively correlated with your self-esteem. It increases your feelings of failure, it lowers your self-worth. And so you are very used to being critical. You are very used to the self-talk that is negative, that focuses on the things that you're doing wrong or all the things that you're failing at or you're not doing enough of. So if you go into your healing journey with that mindset that you need to get it right, that you need to be good right away, then you're going to hold yourself back. You're going to hold yourself back because then every time that something doesn't go exactly as planned, let's say that you've been really great at listening to your body and then you overeat, right? There's one night where something happens and you overeat, you're going to make that mean a lot. You're going to make it mean that you're not good at this, that you're not cut out for this. See, this is a perfect reason why intuitive eating isn't right for me, right? You're going to make it mean so much more than what it actually is, which is a lesson. It is an opportunity to learn something. If I look back on my years in business and all of the things that I've been bad at, in order to improve on them, I had to look at, all right, what's not working here? Where is there room for improvement? And then focusing on how I can get better. But if you aren't willing to be bad at something, if you aren't willing to be a beginner, to go in with a beginner's mind and to see what you might call failures, but really they're just lessons. If you can look at those challenges and those quote unquote struggles and the things that you will inevitably encounter on your healing journey, if you can look at those things as inevitable, if you can look at those things as stepping stones towards a better version of you, because success is a pretty crappy teacher, and you can look at those quote unquote failures as this is what I need. This is what I need to get better. Then number one, you're not going to feel as scared. You're not going to feel as intimidated to get started because you're not putting this pressure on yourself to figure it out right away, to be good right away. You're allowing yourself to be a beginner. You're allowing yourself to have a lot to learn, and that's okay. Anyone who's ever achieved something amazing, who's ever achieved success in any area of their life, they had to start at zero. And that's often what you don't see, right? When you see the success stories, you see the success stories on Instagram and in the tabloids, in social media, and this could be success in any area of life. You see where they are now, but you don't see the years or the decades of struggling that they had in order to get there. And it's so easy to compare yourself. You compare your own chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 30. They had to go through their own chapter 1. You just didn't see it because they were no one at the time, right? They were in the process. They were in the cocoon before they could become a butterfly. And that's why we often don't see people talk about their struggles. We don't see people talk about the things that they're working on that they haven't quite figured out yet because they're in the process, and it's okay to be in the process. I am constantly working on things in my own life. I am far, far, far from perfect. I am always accepting that I'll be bad first, and then I'll get better. And it most likely will never be perfect. So this is your permission to be bad. This is your permission to be a beginner and to not make it mean anything about your potential for success, your potential for healing, for becoming a new version of you. I've been working on myself for years, and I will continue to work on myself. And if you start now, imagine where you're going to be a year from now. Imagine where you're going to be 3 years from now, 10 years from now. This kind of stuff, it compounds. Just like money, there's compound interest, right? What starts as $1 over years can turn into $1,000 and can turn into $100,000. Same goes with your growth, right? When you start moving in the right direction. But in the same vein, when you're working in the wrong direction, that's going to compound as well. And over time, you're going to get further and further and further away from the person that you want to be, from your dream life, from the best version of you. So start now. Start with one step in the right direction. Take it one day at a time and allow yourself to be patient. That's all I have for you. I love you. I so believe in you. I know what is possible for you. I mean, I have worked with clients who started in a really dark place, right? Not knowing anything about personal development, about their own mind, about how to connect to their bodies. Like they were a full beginner. And just within a few weeks, it's like I'm talking to someone new. And this is possible for you too. So I love you so much. I believe in you. And I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day. Actually, I'll give you a little action step because I know I love giving action steps at the end of my episodes for you to really take something like tangible and bring it into your life. Journal on this. What is one step I can take today to start moving in the right direction? One small, tiny step. Please don't make it too big and overwhelming. One small, tiny step that I can start taking today to move in the right direction, to work on my healing, my growth. All right, I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you found it valuable, I would love if you would share it with someone you know that could benefit. If you're loving the show, don't forget to subscribe over on Apple Podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. I really love hearing feedback from you, so please leave a rating and review over on Apple to help us get in the ears of more people who need it the most. Finally, come hang out with me on Instagram at Sabrina Magnan Health for more educational content and get up close and personal with me. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next episode.